This is your local election headquarters.
Welcome back. A trailblazer, a husband, a father, a brother, and a legend in his own time. People across the area and beyond are remembering former Mayor-President Kip Holden. He passed away this past Wednesday at the age of 72. As Louisiana First News reporter Kayla Gaston reports, he leaves behind a legacy of leadership, resilience, and deep community roots.
He had a great vision for this city. He would just get it done.
Serving 3 terms as mayor-president, Melvin Kip Holden made history in East Baton Rouge Parish, becoming the first African-American elected to the position.
It was an amazing experience working with Mayor Holden. He was so charismatic, and his leadership abilities were so outstanding that it was fun to be working for Mayor Holden.
Notably, during his time in office, Holden dealt with the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, offering help to those impacted across southeast Louisiana.
He really stepped up, and it was at that moment obvious to me that we had maybe one of the most dynamic leaders in the country here in Baton Rouge.
Admirably known as Kip, his leadership earned him many friendships along the way, including Carl Groton of over 20 years.
Kip was a unique individual. He was one that really cared a lot about his constituents and really a lot about everybody in general.
During his time in office, Holden prioritized the revitalization of downtown, improving North Baton Rouge and bridging communities.
Being able to come downtown, we can eat, play, love, and everything we can do right was due in part to his visionary leadership. He was an example. You can break those barriers in this community.
Breaking barriers for people like Anthony Kinney, who serves as District 2 councilman today.
Mayor Holden has set such a high standard, and also for young black men in this community who wants to be a District 2 councilman, who wants to be mayor, president, state representative.
As Baton Rouge reflects on his life and legacy, many say Mayor Holden's impact won't be measured only by policy, but by the lives he touched along the way.
It was Kayla Gaston reporting. Baton Rouge Mayor President Sid Edwards also weighed in on Kip Holden's passing during the latest Metro Council meeting. Here's what he had to say about Kip.
Who was an icon, and I think Councilman Dunn called him a transformative mayor, and there's no doubt about it. I can only hope in the position I sit in that I could be an ounce of the mayor that man was.
Now, to see what other community leaders had to say about Holden's life and legacy, you can go to our website, louisianafirstnews.com. Most of a plan to move around money in East Baton Rouge Parish making its way through the Metro Council. Voters will now decide in November if the so-called Thrive EBR plan is the right move to cut parish spending without cutting too many jobs or services. Louisiana First News reporter Deshaun Johnson was there at the meeting and shares what's next.
The real work begins, and that's getting people us being transparent and the people to understand what this is.
East Baton Rouge Metro Council gave the green light to move forward some of the Thrive EBR plan, putting it on the November ballot. The alimony tax resolution was removed from the plan. Edwards says they listened to the community and felt it'd be best to leave it be.
We paid attention to the voters, just talked about it, and we said, you know what, let's just not put that in there. Let's get rid of the tax.
Thrive EBR is a group of tax renewals for certain businesses across the parish. The EBR Parish Library System, the Council on Aging, and mosquito abatement and rodent control. Katrina Stokes with the library says they're excited to move forward for many reasons.
We feel that we have accomplished our goals, which first and most important was to keep our dedicated millage and to receive a millage at which we can continue our operations.
Stokes says there's still work that needs to be done, including educating the public, especially with the wording on the ballots.
We felt it was wise to broaden the language a little bit about specifically what our millage is going towards as far as operational costs, adding the language like collections, furniture, equipment, and so on.
A part of the plan, the Council on Aging millage would also be renewed. Tasha Clark-Amar, who serves as the CEO of the Council on Aging, says they serve a lot of the Baton Rouge community. She says they're making sure to work diligently to keep the services they provide, like Meals on Wheels.
We have to have a budget that we can forecast, that we know how much it is every year, and every year, because things get tight, don't bring us back and chip out a piece here and chip out a piece here. And so that's why we push for the commitment that once we do this, there will be no more rolling us back and changing our amount.
When it's time for voters to choose, they'll see the plan come up as 3 separate items on the ballot. Deshaun Johnson, Louisiana First News.
Thrive would generate $21 million to manage ongoing debt, with $4.5 million remaining to stabilize the budget and invest in long-term improvements. Student athletes in Louisiana will soon be better compensated for their name, image, and likeness. This week, Governor Jeff Landry issued an executive order to protect college athletes from adverse action by the NCAA if they facilitate or offer NIL compensation to student athletes. Landry releasing a statement saying, in part, Louisiana is proud to be home to student athletes who consistently compete and win at the highest levels of college athletics. This executive order is about fairness for our Louisiana students, our schools, and our athletes. Governor Landry and state lawmakers address advocates for school choice funding. Members of the nonprofit Americans for Prosperity Louisiana call for full funding of the Louisiana Gator Scholarship Program. This would allow parents to use state money to put their kids into private schools. Public education supporters say this could ultimately lead to public schools being underfunded. Landry wants lawmakers to approve millions of dollars for the program.
What we are asking the legislature this year is to just fund it based upon the promises and the commitment that we made, which is at a $93 million, which covers like $43 million for the voucher kids, $50 million or so for the first phase of this program.
The Department of Education says an update on this is expected this week. Coming up, a former NOPD officer on death row sees a legal victory after the state's AG asked for a stepped-up execution date. Stay with us.